I'm a guy who writes songs and I sing them because no one else is volunteering to sing them right now. If you want to take the human out of that creative art, then what are you left with? There's no authenticity to anything. I'm just gonna keep being the best version of that I can be as a father, as a husband, and as an artist. That's all I can do.
Noel, and I love Rugged Revival.
This is the Rugged Revival podcast. We're your home of the UK's country, Americana and roots music community. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and share it with your friends. It really does help, to bring the show some more conversations of these types. So, keep sharing, please. On today's show, we have a brother from another mother, my online friend, who I'm speaking to, funny enough, for the first time. It's well overdue. Mr. Jacob Paul Allen. How are we doing, mate?
Oh man, we're doing good. We're doing good. And you're right. This feels like it is long overdue. For like the online connection, friendship's been there for a year or better now. Trying to connect and liking and following and all that. So it's good to be face to face in a manner of speaking.
Exactly, mate. It's nice to do these things and get that opportunity. First of all, thank you so much for carving out some time, for us and to join the podcast. It's been it's been great to have you on. So what's your week been like so far, mate? What's been going on?
Week has been getting ready for the weekend. And it's working the day job. I still work part-time construction with my father-in-law, and got a couple properties that I just do basically property management for, and so bounce around between jobs and juggling two kids and playing husband and all that, man. It's just it's always something.
The proper grind, mate. Yeah. I love to hear that type of stuff and to kind of get a peek behind the curtain on what you guys get up to, because we see the online persona and kind of the music side of things. And, I keep saying on this podcast, we're very nosy. I think it must be an English thing. But what's your kind of home life like? So you work in construction, you say you got wife and kids, kind of what's day to day look like for you?
Oh man, it's that if there's any parents that might be watching this that are new parents, I should say, you get it. And maybe older parents, you'll remember it. It's it's just that routine. It's the grind. It's to get up. The kids are up usually 6:37 in the morning. I got a 3-year-old, almost 3-year-old, in daycare, so it's getting him off to school and getting back and getting to work, and trying to get up early to have some me time to do the working out, and so I don't get the dad bod, or the dad bod doesn't get worse than it already is. So try to fit all the things that I want into one day. It's just the story as old as time. There's not enough hours in the day, it seems like sometimes. But that's the daily life, man. Playing husband and playing father, and my two favorite roles to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got real little ones still then. Mine are kind of growing up now, so I've got a 7-year-old and 12-year-old. So it's got easier, but
getting into a tricky phase there with the 12-year-old.
Oh, mate, yeah, honestly. Yeah, he's already the moody teenager, dislikes me a lot, dislikes everything I do. But tonight he's round a friend's house in a hot tub. So he's got the life, as much as he complains, he's got a sweet life where we are.
Doesn't seem like a bad, they seem like a good dad. Seem like a dude that'd be a good dad, good fun dad. So
I try, mate, but I think everyone thinks at that age that their dad is cringe, and I think I was probably the same with my parents. So I don't blame him. It's all good, mate. I'll forgive him when he's a bit older. So I think I messed this up on one of the posts, mate, because I mistakenly said you were from Kentucky, but you're actually from Virginia, I believe, aren't you?
I am from a place called Nelson County, Virginia, just eastern side of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Appalachian Trail runs right through my county. A little rural farm, logging, kind of town.
Awesome.
Yeah,
so I don't know too much about that. That's that way of things. So what's the kind of culture like? What's the people like? What's the lifestyle like in general that way?
Well, this particular area, it's like I said, it's a lot of Irish immigrants and things like that. Rural Appalachian, and farm life is big. Definitely, logging's a big thing around here. And then the two big cities on either side of us. One is Charlottesville, one is Lynchburg. So there's obviously cities, I call them. They're not compared to anything like Nashville or LA like we were talking about earlier, but you know, there are places you can go to have, your amenities and things like that. But it's pretty rural out here. But in the last 10 years now, it's agritourism is really big in the area. Breweries, wineries, distilleries, that sort of thing. So half the county is built up of a lot of affluent folks that have come down from Northern Virginia and established larger homes and things like that. And that side's where all the wineries and things like that are. I live on the less populated, more spread out rural side of the county, which is still you could call it backwoods, I guess, but there's a lot of good old boys and good old girls on this side of the county.
That sounds perfect to me, mate. Yeah, I think if I could get away from the neighbours, that would be amazing. But we don't have too much opportunity in England. We're kind of built up.
It is nice to be able to walk out on the porch if you want to and do your business, especially as a man. It's nice to be able to have that luxury.
Fair enough, mate. But yeah, I mean, what's the Kentucky connection then? So you spend a lot of time yourself out there.
So yeah, man, I think I've always kind of been drawn to that scene, just based out of the music that's come out of the Kentucky and in the last decade or more. Obviously, the rich history going further back, but the Tyler Childers and the Sturgills and the Chris Stapleton and all that. Putting a lot of focus on that culture and that music. But then the most recent connection is a mutual friend, Lance Rogers, who he and I were on the same management team for a while, and had some online meetings within that management team, and really connected. Felt like we were compatible. Had a lot of things in common, and so we met for the first time at an event at Bristol Rhythm and Roots. We were doing an event down there outside of that festival, but just hit it off, and then went down to visit, and we booked some shows together, and ended up going out to the Midwest, booking some shows in Illinois, and we've done that 3 times now on that run. And I talked to the guy the other day, and he wants us back in November, so I'm sure we'll be making another loop back in the fall. So just that's my connection down there right now is Lance, and he's I'm just very I admire the guy. He's got a lot of hustle, a lot of drive. As a songwriter, he came late into the scene. It seems like even later than I did in his life, and but came in guns a blazing. He's done a tremendous amount of work in the time he's been doing it. So it's good to know him and have the connections he has, and it's a friendship I'm enjoying watching it blossom and grow for sure.
Yeah. Likewise, mate. I think Lance and I kind of hit it off, say when he came over to the UK to begin with, and since then we've got this kind of connection where I don't think we can sit still for longer than 2 minutes. We have to be creating, doing something, making something, putting something out there, and we probably wind each other up in that respect. That like he wants to put something out there, I'll put something out there, and he's like, "Why don't we do this?" And I'll do the same, and it's great because you can bounce that creativity off each other and kind of feed that kind of creative itch that we've all got. So it's cool that he's infiltrated you as well.
I admire that about him, and as you. I'm more the guy that likes, when I do have the time to create something like that and get that itch. I'm the overanalyzer, so I don't have the ability in my Capricorn brain just can't go click and let it go. I gotta overanalyze it and things like that. That's why I don't have as many songs out as I do probably, or recordings and videos and things like that. I like to just, I don't know. I throw away more stuff than I use for sure.
I think you need a balance, mate, of someone with your personality, because you can go the other way and just put absolutely everything out there, and people can see your creative process or your improvements or your mistakes in real time, almost, when it's out in the open. So,
right.
I wish personally that I didn't do that so much, and I probably took a leaf out of your book, man. But so what was it like doing the road trips with Lance? Was it really fun? Was it how did you manage to spend so much time in a car with the fella? Was he okay?
Oh man, how you smell? I'm down. Yeah. Well, it's just funny, man, because we'll listen to the radio for a little while, and then something will come up, and we'll start talking, and just I don't know, man. I couldn't even tell you some of the conversations just in and out. Man, it's easy conversation when he's around for sure. Like I said, we could go down and we listen to a song, it'll spark a conversation to go this way, and then we'll see a sign over there, and It's just the sense of humor can it can be fun. Yeah, because I think as artists and as people who are always trying to be the persona we talked about. You can always kind of some people create a character of themselves, and that's the person that they are always trying to be, whether they're on camera or not. I could name drop, but I won't name these people who have created these characters and they're living by them and they're doing well for themselves and they're successful. But Lance is not that character. He's not a character on camera. He's a real dude. He's a real person. And I like to think that I'm the same way. I'm not trying to create a character and be that person. When I'm an artist, I'm a guy who writes songs and I sing them because no one else is volunteering to sing them right now. If somebody wants to take these songs one day and sing them, hey, more power to them. I think it was I just watched or saw an interview with Brent Cobb, and he's like, I'm a songwriter that sings, and I've always kind of like thought of myself that too. I'm a songwriter. I sing them because no one else wants to.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
like to say I'm a singer songwriter because I've never really looked at myself that way.
I've listened to some podcasts with people like that, and I can't remember who said it, but they said I'd quite happily give up performing on stage just to focus on songwriting, even though they're absolutely incredible. At what they do, what they write, what they perform, just one of the very best. But I think they just much prefer and be happier to be behind the scenes and, like you say, pass on the songs to others and
Right.
let it
I
come
mean,
out that way.
unless you can get to the point in your career, or you just some perfect example, Chris Knight. I don't think that the person he is on stage is a front. He is who he is. I just opened up for him recently. He's Chris Knight on stage. He's Chris Knight off stage. He didn't create a character. He just wrote killer songs, and he gets to sing them everywhere he goes, man. And you can be that good and be, he's like the Robert Duvall and the Al Pacinos of acting. Like he just gets to be himself on camera. He just gets to be himself. He didn't have to create a character. You know, he got to
He's
that
just
level.
naturally the dude, isn't he? Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that guy,
yeah,
man. Well, let's dial it back slightly, mate. So we talked about where you're from, but I'm interested in people's childhoods as well, and obviously leading into the music aspect, in terms of what songs were playing at home by who, and kind of what led you down this path.
yeah. So man, childhood going back, we'll take it all the way back. Like my grandmother, for sure, a huge influence on me is for music. And she was the biggest Elvis fan in the world. So like all of his movies, my grandmother had them. I called her Oma because she was Austrian, so she was called Oma. And so she helped raise us when we were younger because my mom had us young, and she was still busy working, trying to make ends meet and things like that. So spent a lot of time with Oma when we were kids, and yeah, she could. If I was having a bad day or needed some to be entertained, she'd put on an Elvis movie, and I wouldn't move. I'd be there trying to imitate him and grabbing the broom and getting out and dancing around and things like that. Um, so that was an early influence for sure. And then there were a couple folks around my hometown, my dad's friends that played music, distant family members, really. And I get to play with these folks today. Some every now and then they'll show up at a gig and we'll just play guitar together. So Steve Wilson is a guy I'm thinking of who's a distant cousin of mine. He was a huge influence as a kid. My uncle Joe, my mom's oldest brother, was a musician after Vietnam, and so had some of that going on. As far as like styles of music, I grew up, like I said, rural small town Virginia, and we had one radio station that was country radio that we could pick up clearly, and back then it was in the early '90s and late '80s, so it was the Garth Brookses and the Alan Jacksons and the Tracy Lawrences and the Randy Travises and all that. Not a lot of old school country influence at an early age. That came much later in life. The Johnny Cash and the Willie Nelson and the George Jones, that old '70s and '80s. I didn't get into that until later in life, until I started playing music. Really, a lot of folks were listening to the Eagles and Southern rock. Leonard Skinner was a big thing around here. Marshall Tucker Band, things like that.
Awesome, mate. And do you have a particular memory that sticks out as a kid, or a favourite memory? You talked about your grandma and Elvis and things like that, but is there anything that sticks out particularly?
I make this joke a lot. I'll go from a kid to like preteen, teenager kind of days. When I was growing up, my dad, my brother and I, we called ourselves high tech rednecks because we had a 5 disc CD player, changer in our house, and I had a nice entertainment system. And my dad picked 3 CDs of the 5, and my brother and I got to pick 2. So my pick back in the day was Vanilla Ice, and my brother's was MC Hammer. Okay. So my dad's was John Hyatt, Slip of the Tongue, Rod Stewart's Broken Arrow, and Van Morrison record. One of those 3 artists was usually in there. Tracy Chapman every now and then too. So like I make fun of it because like I couldn't stand to listen to Van Morrison or John Hyatt or Rod Stewart when I was a kid. I just didn't really dig it, obviously. And then when I go out and play now, I play several Van Morrison covers these days at shows sometimes, I'm largely influenced by Van Morrison, whether I was taking that in at the time or not, or wanting to. It was all sticking in the brain somewhere because I'm definitely not out there covering MC Hammer or Vanilla Ice covers right now.
Maybe you should, mate. Maybe that's an angle that nobody's thought of.
Yeah, it's something that gets, well, yeah. Can't touch this. I could see you doing, an Americana version of that. Why not?
Yeah, there's been stranger things. It's funny, the last couple of guests that we've had on, we talked about these influences from your parents, and it's normally when you've got long journeys, perhaps you're going on vacation somewhere, and you're at the kind of behest of whatever they're playing on the radio at the time, and at that point you probably despise everything that they put on, mainly because it's your parents, and they're cringe as we come to know.
Right.
But, like you say, that later on in life, it just becomes ingrained in you. And, you talked about the Van Morrison connection and things like that. And it's just interesting how that kind of influences things long term, man.
All right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the Eagles the same way. And my dad, he would say he can't play much more than the radio or sing or anything like that. But I remember him singing along to some old, Doolin and Dalton is one that sticks out in my head. He would sing along to Doolin and Dalton whenever it came on. And so now that's become over the years one of my favorite Eagles songs. It's just it's funny how that works.
Yeah,
like you said,
it comes full circle, doesn't it? Although I can't listen to Meatloaf, that's one that I just could not, get
See,
on
that
board
goes
with.
back to some childhood stuff too. We had at my granny's house with my dad's mom. We had a 8-track days. We had Hank Williams, Tennessee Stud, and Country Boy Can't Survive 8-track, and we had a Meatloaf 8-track. My granny had the old 8-track player, and that was a bat out of hell, man. That was, I can't listen to it all the time, but every time I do hear a Meatloaf song, I'm like, oh, I'm 7 years old at Granny's house,
Brings back the memories, dude.
Yeah.
That's hilarious, man.
It's funny, I haven't thought about that in a long time, actually.
I know, it's just the ones that stick in my mind mainly is Meatloaf and UB40 and just very obscure, stuff like that. But
yeah, see, UB40, now let's get into my mom's side. My parents split at a younger age and spent a lot of time at the beach, at Virginia Beach, and then here in the mountains with my dad when I was a kid. So UB40s was a big one. What was some of the other guys? NXS, some of those 90s, early 90s, like dance club music. My mom was more into that scene, so I got a lot of that and the beach vibes.
Yeah,
I'm a huge Bob Marley fan. If I'm riding around or out in the yard doing the gardening, if I'm gardening in the summertime, I'm usually listening to Bob Marley.
See, we're dudes of a similar age, so I think we can connect on that sort of era, man. But no, it's always interesting to ask those sort of questions. But like I said at the beginning, man, it was great to connect with you finally. We've been connected online for a long time, and to watch you kind of develop as an artist as well. I do try and keep a keen eye on certain people, and especially when I know I want to invite them onto the podcast. So I know R. Kenzie went and interviewed you at I think it was at the Bell last year. For the
that
Love
was
of Appalachian.
last August. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, time is flying, man. So we managed to catch you for a short period then because it was a busy night.
That was a wild night. It was a blur. Yeah,
I can imagine.
It was a great night, fun night. Place was packed. What a great event that they put on for sure.
Yeah. Hopefully there'll be more of those to come. So Lance needs to. That will be his next creative endeavor. To
we'll get him his ear and see if we can get him well.
Not like he's not busy enough, but
yeah. Well, he's got a wedding coming up soon, I think.
Well, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure he could fit that around it, but
yeah.
What's that all?
He's a planner. He'll do it.
Exactly. But you've connected already on Falling Forward for Lance's podcast, which is great. You know, he's a far better conversationalist than me. You know, he's got this creative mind and just this ability to take a conversation wherever. So, you know, he's got some fantastic guests, and you were on his show. Was it a couple of months ago? I think now.
See, when was that? Was that we were getting ready to go on another road trip to the Midwest. I think that must have been October, early fall.
Yes, yeah,
I
that's
think it
right.
was.
Yeah,
It was October.
towards the back end of the year, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
then we kind of delayed releasing your grit sessions a couple of months ago. So that was great. And I said to you right at the beginning, you know, I appreciate you letting us share those moments with us and allowing us to put it on the channel. I
No,
love
I
seeing
appreciate
them.
it.
Every time Lance kind of sends me a link to something, I get quite excited. I'm like, you know, who's he got next on? And, you know, I just love to give it a listen to put it out there. So I think you recorded one track, wasn't it? So Heaven Was a Back Road.
Yeah, Heaven Was a Back Road, man. It's one of my favorite songs that from my childhood because it does touch on some pretty personal memories, some fun memories of growing up around these rural back roads and driving around my brother's truck and just you know things that kids might be doing it these days, but probably not. Just because of logistics, most of the dirt roads are all paved these days around my hometown, which is sad. But you know, 30 years ago now, wow, or yeah, about 30 years ago, yeah, a lot of back roads, a lot of good old boys in Chevrolets and Fords riding around, just kicking up dust and having a good old time, you know. And the leashes were a lot longer back then for kids, you know.
Yeah.
Trouble wasn't as easily found as it is now. Sad days, but you know that song takes me back to those good old days in the truck, man.
Yeah, I think anyone wants to listen to that, go and check out our YouTube channel. It'll be out there on the Falling Forward Grit sessions. But I love that one, and I think there was some comments left on it from the shorts that we put out and on the actual video itself. And you know, people were talking about the kind of charisma that you've got when you play, and like you say, just the storytelling aspect of that song. I love it. It's stuck in my head still because when I go to edit these into shorts, you know,
Yeah,
I'm listening
right.
to them over and over, and I just that was one of the songs that really got stuck in my mind, man. So you've got a real knack for that.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank
But
you.
so let's talk about your music. So you know, for anyone still kind of discovering your music and who you are, give us the kind of summary version of what kind of sound you've gone for, and talk us about the early days of, you know, when you started to release songs.
So I've come to call what I do Appalachian red dirt country music. I mean, it's the country's the big umbrella. It's some sort of Americana, but I call it Appalachian red dirt because I grew up here, like I said, in the eastern side of the Appalachian Mountains, Blue Ridge Mountains, and obviously folk and bluegrass and roots music is pretty common out here. And then you know the country roots going back to the Carter family down in Southwest Virginia. No shortage of country roots here in this part of the world. But then as I got older in life and went through some different phases, when I started to play and perform music, I was really drawn to the Texas singer-songwriter scene. And some of those guys out there, Robert Earl Keen, huge influence. So the Texas Red Dirt scene, you know, Cross Canadian Ragweed, Wade Bowen, guys like that. Randy Rogers band, really fell in, got. I think I discovered that, especially Randy Rogers. I can almost see right now. I was staring out of a U-Haul moving to L.A., small town Virginia kid moving to L.A. in nowhere, somewhere west of Amarillo, and couldn't get much of a radio station. And Randy Rogers came on. I'm like, we don't get country sounds like that back in Virginia. Who is this? You know, and so dove deep into the red dirt country scene, and I really love that scene ever since. And so that's why that influence, I came up with the Appalachian red dirt.
Yeah, I love that. I can hear that influence in you, the Texas kind of influence, because we went out there last year and we spent a lot of time with the Texas guys. You know, we were having friends out there, or through the sheer amount of guests that we had on. Yeah, I think the latest Texas guest was John Teague from Teague Brothers Band, and
Oh yeah, man, killer band. I'm just now starting to discover them, but haven't heard a bad
amazing.
thing yet.
Yeah, I'm not hearing any bad music that way. You know, the Fort Worth, Dallas scene with the branch radio and what those guys are putting out is just, there's almost like too much good music. I know it sounds like a ridiculous thing to say, but it's like,
Yeah, I mean
it's,
it's well, as one, it's such a big state. There's so much talent out there, and you know, it's just that man, like a lot of them do, you could tour Texas and you never have to go outside of Texas to make a living, you know. So it's they got their own thing going, and it's a great culture
Absolutely.
down there for sure.
I love it. So what's the Virginia scene like? Because we've also had Virginian artists, people like Cody Christian and I think Brennan Edwards might be
Yeah,
from that
Brennan
side.
Edwards, she's a bit north, Winchester area. It's about 2 hours north of here, and Cody Christian, I believe he's down other side of Richmond, Virginia, which is the capital. So he's in that area. Um, but I think that there's a large amount of definitely Americana, some more on the bluegrass side of the scene than others. Some blues influence in that Americana as well. There's a few artists in and around the area that are going down the honky tonk, more the traditional honky tonk scene, with some old classic country sounds. Folks like
Yeah.
Ramona and the Holy Smokes, who I think you're familiar with, and my friend Rebecca Porter, who's just got a killer voice, and her band's fantastic. The Rhinestone Roses. So you got some folks like that are doing more of that traditional honky tonk style music, and then bands like the Low Water Bridge Band. They're heavy banjos and good storytelling and good countries. Remnants of something like Turnpike Troubadours. So yeah, that Americana roots scene is definitely heavy. And then you got some just straight up country guys, man. It's just, I consider myself on the country side of things. I think I told someone I'm too country for the Americana scene here in Virginia, but I'm not country enough for Nashville as far as Nashville country or something like that. It's like I'm somewhere in this weird middle ground. Like I'm not as cool and hip as some of the kids out there doing the Americana, but I'm not as cool as those guys in Nashville either, you know? So it's like I'm just in this weird little bubble right here.
I'm sure you are, dude. But no, I like I said, I think you have got your own sound, and it comes from those different influences of where you've been to and what you like. And yeah, just keep doing it. Don't conform to the Nashville type of thing, or it's. I suppose it's easy to fall into that trap for some people, isn't it? That
I
you know.
I think it is, especially the younger audiences and the people that are looking for the higher recognition and the fame. And I lived in Nashville for almost 3 years, 2016 to 2019 or thereabouts, and you could definitely see it down there. I mean, there are folks that are there just to be famous, and I've watched people come into town and blow up, and they had a great career. And I saw a lot of people, just get burnt out quickly. And also saw the ones that have been there for 20 years and haven't done a thing, and they're burnt out, and they're just, they're mad at the city for eating them up, and it's just it's a funny little town. It's got its own thing going. It's definitely evolved. Um, I wish I'd probably been back there in the 90s, but folks that grew up in the 70s and 80s of country music probably said the same thing about the 90s as folks are saying now about the music coming out, and that's the thing with music. It evolves. It goes through cycles, and it's controlled by a lot of different things, and we could talk for hours on that. Whether I agree with it or not, they've got their own thing going for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think I've come to learn a lot. I always say on this podcast that I'm just a music fan. I'm not an expert. So sometimes when things come out my mouth, it's completely wrong, which is probably most of the time. But it's just an opinion. And I think people are allowed to have an opinion about certain things. But anyway, with Nashville, it's funny, I was seeing online recently the new song from Luke Bryan, is it? And the the kind of video reactions to his new song, and
Oh,
people are
was it?
convinced
I
that's
saw a
written by
brief little
AI.
video clip of the one he was going to tease with, and I haven't listened to the whole song. I'm guilty of not listening to a lot of, especially the new country radio. Well, just doesn't come on my playlist.
No,
But
me neither. No, it's
but
but I am enjoying the kind of parody videos that people are putting out there, kind of almost mocking it in a way, because it does sound completely AI generated, and I suppose that's part of the huge debate at the minute with AI music, and particularly with Spotify and places like that. It's
yeah, it's definitely a thing that people. I think when it first started to get teased into the scene, the music, whatever, when music people in music in as writers or whatever started to use it, maybe they just were naive about what it could lead to. But I think it went in a direction quickly, and now maybe some folks trying to rewind and trying to figure out how to correct it. Because it's my latest song, kids these days, jokes about it. It's kind of a parody song about the whole thing, but it's kind of true. You know, if you want to take the human out of that creative art, then what are you left with? You know, there's no authenticity to anything. It's all if you're all doing the same thing and using the same AI, it's saying, hey, all you people, this collective group of human people all reacted to this, and that's create this thing. You know, and I'm not saying they're creating bad things. Like there was the first country song that went #1. That was an AI country song from that rough red dirt road, dirt rough, whatever. I don't know the band name. I can't remember, but
Yeah.
it wasn't a terrible song. It fit right in with everything that was already on kind of modern radio. I hate to say it, you know, I think that's why maybe that's why it was kind of easy to say, hey, like all these emotions are getting all these millions of song likes and follows. So let's, it was an easy to create that song. But yeah, like you said, how do you decipher what's been real created by humans and what hasn't, and what can someone can say that they didn't use AI assist to write a song, or
Yeah.
it's a scary thing. It really is.
It is, and I think it's evoked a lot of emotions online when we put clips out from previous podcast guests giving their take on it, and some people are obviously anti AI in the music to the degree that it's being put out, and we're kind of part of that side of the argument. But we've had some real strong kind of arguments from people that are just dead set on it. Funny enough, because they're running accounts that is purely to put out AI country music.
I mean, if like I say, if there, I guess there could be some sort of talent or whatever it is in creating that, or what there's an art in some weird way to that. Well, then create a whole different genre and a radio station that is say, hey, look, these are all AI created songs.
Yeah,
None of this is human. Okay, and that's your own radio station. You can all just create all your own AI songs and leave it all over there. But don't intermingle it with these people that are like me and Lance and Joe Stam, who you're going to have on soon, who bust their butts writing, trying to put our emotions into a song just to have it outdone by some made up person. It's not, I hate to say it's not fair, but it is. It's just not, it's just.
Yeah, you make a really good
why
point.
we do what we do.
Yeah, that was something I put out the other day on my kind of personal TikTok account, was that I love to go on, well, I did love to go on Spotify to create, if I'm in a certain mood like country soul, I want to create a playlist, and it used to be really good at just pulling songs together. And this is where I found certain artists like, Magnolia Boulevard and Pug Johnson and Marcus Trummer. And we've had these guys on the podcast as a result of me just randomly putting playlists together. And I did one recently, and it changed so significantly that I would say 90% of people on that podcast were AI generated bots, I say people. And then, like you say, between those tracks were legitimate artists like yourself, Joe, and and that's what really pissed me off about it, was that you're kind of mixing up, real art to a generated form of music, and I don't think that's right. But I don't know, I'll get off my high horse and soapbox now. We could talk for it for hours, man.
We could, and people should be talking about it for hours, in my opinion, because it's a scary thing. It really is.
It is, dude. Right, let's lighten the mood slightly. So it wouldn't be a podcast if we didn't have a very quick fire round. So no more thinking, mate. No need to explain your answers. Whatever you say is correct, dude. So I've got 5 to hit you with. Are you ready? Let's go.
Stretch. All right, let's do this.
So number 1, favorite musician from your childhood.
From my childhood. Wow. Man, I tell you what, Garth Brooks is a big one. We used to listen to it was a competition between my brother and my cousins and I. We'd put on all the Garth Brooks records and see who would mess up a lyric first. And if you messed up a lyric, you were out, because we just sing along to them all the time.
Love that. Number 2, one independent artist that you think more people should know about.
Other than Lance Rogers? No. Yeah, Lance is a good one, for sure. Joe Stam, I bring him up a lot these days because he's got a lot of things. He's doing a lot right, and I think that his name needs to be out there in the talks with everybody else. Yeah.
Perfect. Best album or song you've heard from the last 5 years?
Best album or song? Man, there's so many good ones. You know what? I'm going to throw this one out because a guy who I admire wrote it, It's #1 on country radio. At least it was not long ago. And Luke Combs has had a lot of good #1s. And I talked about like not listening to mainstream country radio, but the one Days Like This that Brent Cobb wrote. I mean, that's just yeah, man, that's just a good song. That's the first song I kind of got chills just now. It's like that's what country needs to be doing. Like that. That's just yeah. So that one stuck out, man.
Awesome. Love it. One song that always puts you in a good mood.
One song I was gonna say. Could You Be Loved? Could you be loved by Marley? Could you be loved? What's that? I don't even know that's the name of the song. That's just what I always say. But how are you getting a bad mood listening to any Bob Marley song? But yeah, it also because when my son was younger, you could put that song on and he would drop whatever he was doing and instantly fall into this little beat. And so like that song's just got a special place for me.
If it doesn't make you do that with Bob Marley, then there's something not right with.
I'm glad we agree. See, I knew we were friends, man. I knew it.
Best live gig you've ever been to?
Best live gig I've ever been to. Wow. Man. Me performing or listening to someone else?
Listen to someone else.
Wow, man. I tell you what. A recent one, seeing Chris Knight again after not seeing him for 10 years when I opened up for him recently at the Colony in New York, in Woodstock, New York. That was a really cool show because I got to open up for him for the first time and share his audience as a singer-songwriter and open up for someone who you admire so much. And then get to stand back and watch that same crowd react and sing along to all his hits. Man, that was just as hard as there was one person in the crowd trying to ruin the night for everybody else that was there, it was a show that I'll remember for a long, long time.
There's always one or two, mate, isn't there?
Yeah.
Either they've had too much to drink or they're singing so loud that you can't hear the friggin',
Combination of all those things.
Yeah. It's it gets harder and harder to go to live shows for me as I get older. I get more cranky these days, but
Yeah. I like the listening rooms.
there you go. Look, I appreciate that, man. That was 5 of the best from you. So, the Rugged Revival, we always say this is a platform to discover new music. We love to do it, and we certainly love helping independent artists to, gain recognition, whether it's with the UK audience that we've got over here or vice versa with the UK guests that we have on. So the question to you, mate, are there any emerging musicians or bands perhaps we haven't mentioned already that you've been kind of personally following and taking a keen interest in that you should, recommend our listeners check out too?
Oh, wow. There's as far as writing and just people that can just really tell a good story. Going on my my management team of Freight Train Management, there's a guy named Woody Woodsworth. Have you heard of Woody yet?
I have not, no.
Woody Woodsworth, man, is a killer Virginia writer. He's got a lot of great music out there. He's a great storyteller. He writes. He's about my age, I guess, but he writes beyond his years. I think he's got this historian type of storytelling. It's just he pulls a lot of rich roots from his family and from his heritage and from the area that we grew up in here in the Appalachia. He's got a kind of a haunting style of writing and storytelling to it. So yeah, definitely check out Woody, man. He's a beast.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, it's always nice to hear a name that we're not familiar with, and we will go down the rabbit hole with that dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. So what's going on for the kind of rest of the year then, mate? It's funny, I asked this to John Teague and he's like, well, if you're not saying you're either writing music or playing shows, then what the fuck are you doing? So I was like, I'm going to keep this question in just to prove him wrong, because I'm sure somebody will say something different at one point.
Yeah. No, there's definitely more writing and playing shows. I hope to be writing. I don't have anything down on paper that I want to write right now. Recording is definitely on there. Got a live record that's currently in the studio being worked on. We got to do some singing on that one, and I got to, go and edit a couple things. But that live album should be coming out before the end of the year, I hope. And then I want to do a project where it's just me and a guitar. A lot of shows I play are still just solo singer-songwriter stuff, So I feel like sometimes to try to sell them a live record that's a full band can be kind of weird because that's not what they just heard, So I'd like to give people a record when they come see me as a singer-songwriter or a songwriting singer, something that it's compatible to what they just heard. So I'd like to get at least 10, 12 songs out on a record like that. and I've been talking with Zach McCord up in West Virginia, who Lance has recorded with, and turned me on to him. So hopefully we can get that all lined up back half the summer and get that worked out as well.
Super. So with these kind of live recordings, are these songs that you haven't released, or is it going to be a mixture of stuff that you've already put out there?
It'll be a mixture because some of the songs I do with my band are songs that have already been recorded, and we don't play them exactly like those studio recordings. So it'd be kind of cool to have a mix. And then there's definitely some that are, I think, some of I don't want to say better songs, but I think will maybe get a different audience for me, more indicative of what I do, rather than some of the other ones that are on Spotify and all the other places right now. So it'll be cool to have those songs out there for sure.
Superb. Yeah, I love the aspect of live recorded albums. I think over the years some of my favourites have been, the live recorded, like the Fillmore East stuff that the Allman Brothers put out there, and you could probably think of 100, that over the years that people have put out. They've just been incredible stuff.
Oh yeah, it's because a lot of that, that's I don't. I love being in the studio. It's such a cool thing to do. It's a challenging, whole different beast in itself to be in the studio and locked into the headphones. But if you can capture, we've had so many shows as a band. We're like, gosh, why didn't we record that show? Why we should have that on. So we did record. We set up to record one night, and did it, and we got some great songs. Some of the songs we were hoping to get, we didn't get. It just wasn't the right night for that song, and that's how it goes. It's like you can push play and then there's push pause and redo and do the whole thing. And live is live, man. And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, it's warts and all. And I think that's the beauty of live albums, is just those kind of quirks that you don't get on a kind of polished recording. But yeah, I'm keen to hear that, man. And have you got a kind of timescale for when that might happen?
I'm going to be, I think I'm going in the studio 1st of June to try to wrap up some of that stuff. So I'd like to put that on vinyl and do a live vinyl record. So that takes a little bit longer, but obviously can always put this stuff out there on the socials and streaming platforms sooner. So I would say early fall will be probably a good timeline for that, early fall, to have a live record out.
Awesome. Okay, mate. Well, let us know when it does, and we'll be sure to kind of share that with you. It's that'll be sweet. So another kind of light touch moment now. So I did start asking guests, about their Mount Rushmore of musicians, and I think people got confused. Like, are there 3? Are there 4? Are there, I'm like, I'm just going to keep it, top 3. It's just
top 3.
Cleaner, man. Yeah, people that you love, people who inspire you, and perhaps even kind of shaped you into the musician that you are now, mate.
It would be hard not to put John Prine there at the top of the list as far as songwriting for sure, and his storytelling. He's influenced most of the other guys that would fall behind him in that category. But he's definitely top of the list for me. Even though I don't, generally write a lot of songs like John Prine, in particular, my style is a little bit different. But the storytelling, especially his between song banter, like he was great. I don't think there was anyone like him in my opinion. For me, man, Tom Petty is one that I'll throw in there too. He's just as far as rock music. I mean, I could listen to Tom Petty records all day long. I don't think I would ever get tired of listening to Tom Petty. He's up there for me, and a great songwriter. I mean, I loved a lot of his writing, and those Mike Campbell guitar licks. It was just a deadly combination. Chris Knight's hard not to put up there. Influenced a lot by John Prine as well, but just his way to make you feel like everybody in his story, whether he's writing, about whatever, killing somebody or whatever in all of his stories. He made a joke recently, like someone's either dying or getting cheated on or something. But I feel like coming from a rural background, he had ability to put that stuff into words and then into a song, into a 3-minute story. That instantly you feel like you know everybody in that story. So yeah. Those 3 are for me, man.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go down the Chris Knight rabbit hole. So many people bring his name up, and I'm ashamed to say I haven't listened to too many of his songs. I know a good few, but not into the depths that you guys kind of recognize him.
Yeah, I mean, he's just I think especially as a songwriter, I mean, like, so many people like, I know Lance, who you've already talked to and you know and you're friends with, is a huge Chris Knight fan, we talk about him a lot. Some folks that you have coming on the podcast are huge Chris Knight fans. Yeah, he's definitely well recognized and respected as a songwriter in the area, and in this, independent Americana, country, whatever scene you wanna call it. I mean, he's definitely he's a guy that a lot of folks look up to and admire.
Awesome, awesome, mate. Well, thanks for sharing that, dude. I've got a
Yeah, man.
couple more questions because I know you're a busy dude today, and
Aw, do it, man, but
you got
as
to
soon as
get
we got off
back
this
out.
pod, I gotta go to work after this, so you keep talking.
I'll talk slower then.
Yeah, hear it.
But one of the things we do like to ask on the podcast is about mental health. Whether it's men's mental health or female. And I think for us, we're of a similar age. We got, like I say, kids. We got the day job, and we do our extracurricular stuff around it, like this.
Mhm.
But how do you kind of look after yourself? In terms of mentally, physically, especially when things like social media are bloody exhausting and it can be brutal at times, especially when you're putting your heart and soul into the music and kind of showing it with the world. And, you don't know what kind of feedback you might get. But what do you do to kind of look after yourself?
I'm trying to get back into a consistent exercise routine because I mean, most of my life I've been an athlete. I went play college sports and played high school sports, and after college, I've still stayed athletic, whether it's working out all the time or playing rec league softball. I was always doing something active. Most of the jobs I've had required me to be, in decent shape, and be active. So, but since kids came along 3 years ago, my son was born. The routines have been, few and further between, as you can imagine. Um, from being a parent, like some of those early days of parenting, schedules are hard to follow,
Yeah.
because you'd have to you just adjust yourself. So getting back to a normal routine, because I'm just now in the last few weeks started to get back into an exercise routine, and instantly I can feel my mood change. My patience with my children is so much better. My patience with my wife is so much better. Our relationship gets better instantly. It's amazing what physical exercise can do to your mental health. It's just whether it's just going out and getting a steady walk. If you're walking a mile a day, just that early in the morning, get up instead of having a cup of coffee instantly. Just get up and go for a walk and get those endorphins and get that blood flowing, and it instantly creates a better mood for me. That's one thing, and trying to find more balance with, like you said, the socials, because that is exhausting, and it's exhausting on not just the smaller independent people trying to get known level. It's Nate Smith just released something recently, who's a big kid out of Nashville, who's done well for himself. But he's just like, what do we do? We write songs, we put it out there. Oh, it only gets 20,000 views. Well, it's not going to be a hit. We can't record that one. So just finding a way to shut some of that out and just do it because it's what you want to do and forget the feedback. I mean, I wish that you could shut off the numbers on Spotify and I mean, I guess you can on your like count and all that stuff, but just trying to not pay attention to it and try to really put stuff out there, not to get likes, but just to put it out there
Yeah.
with no expectations from anyone.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because you do get drawn to that kind of nonsense. It almost seems fake. That kind of world around chasing the algorithm, chasing numbers, and I've been sucked into that many a time. With trying to get the podcast out there and everything, and it's it's so hard. And I think you've got to clear your mind and just think, make something that you love, something that you're proud of, and put it out there. And I think people will find you eventually. It might be a slow burn. You might not have these viral moments, but I think you'll find your crowd, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. It's just that everyone at their own pace, and what you guys are doing is for me, from my perspective, is gaining momentum, and it's doing great. It's serving a great purpose for discovery and creating a great community. And I think that the more people that focus on doing some stuff like that, like suggesting other artists and cross pollinating, from the UK to Texas and then to Kentucky, like you've already done, and doing some of that stuff, and trading those artists back and forth, and turning people on to different stuff, and yeah, just focusing on those people that are just creating to be genuine, creating art to create art rather than creating for the numbers. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't do that. That that's a different beast, though. I think, and I'm at my age. I can't chase that beast. I realized that instantly when I had my kids. I had to. It was going to be a lot of dialing back and focusing more on family and doing what I can when I can, rather than trying to chase it like I've been chasing it, or feel like I've been chasing it. It's just I'm always going to be a songwriter. I'm always going to try to be on a stage somewhere or playing a listening room, trying to create something. But I'm more about doing it at my own pace. I don't feel like I don't feel the pressure like I did before of trying to impress someone or get a record deal, which has never really been the goal. But obviously, as some part of us as entertainers and artists and creators want the masses to know what we do, because it can be lucrative and it can create a more financially stable lifestyle if you're successful at it financially. But I think that if you can put yourself in a situation where the people are around you support you, there's no pressure from them to do it a certain way, which I'm very fortunate to have a wife and family that understands that. And it's just, yeah, I feel comfortable with what I'm doing, and I don't feel pressure to do anything at any kind of pace right
Good for
now.
you, mate. Good for you. It's like you say, it's very difficult, but it seems like you found a way to do it your way. So
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like I said, whatever financial success may come from it, it is what it is. I obviously would love to make more money doing what I do, but at
yeah.
the end of the day, and would love to have millions of followers at the end of the day. But I'm just going to keep being the best version of that I can be as a father, as a husband, and as an artist. That's all I can do.
I know you will, mate. I know you will. So, where can people find you, mate? So, I know you've got a website, jacobpaulallen.com. And
Yeah, that's the one-stop shop, jacobpaulallen.com, and then you can go to all the social links and sideways from there.
so, what sort of gigs have you got coming up, mate? Where can people find you?
So a really cool gig with a band coming up here in Virginia, over in Waynesboro, Virginia. They do this. The Waynesboro Parks and Recreation puts on a free concert on Thursdays in the summer, and it's a couple hours. It's set up a big sound system. It's free to the public. People can come out, food truck, and there's usually a few hundred people out there if the weather's nice. So that's gonna be a fun event tomorrow with a full band, my full 5-piece band,
Sweet.
my A team, all the guys that are like my A-list first string players are coming to play tomorrow. So it's going to be a good time. We haven't had the 5 of us together on stage for a minute, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, that sounds fun, man. So, yeah, head over to Jacob's website. Follow him on socials, and you'll find out exactly what he's up to, where he's going, and yeah, 5-piece band sounds awesome, dude. But I appreciate your time, brother. It's been a long time in the making, and I don't know if you've got a drink to hand, dude.
Yeah, there you go.
But we always raise a toast at the end to the grit,
Cheers
the grind, and a revival. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and thanks, Jacob. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks for what you guys do. Sincerely.